breakers that I'm supposed to be installing when it comes to the code. So again, just hang tight and as I do this short video here. My main focus in today's video is simply tying in my breakers, making sure I have a balanced panel. And when I say balance, I want to make sure that everything is even out on the same side. 40 amps on one side, 40 amps on the other side. If I have two 40s, I place one on each side. Simple balancing out the panel is vital to the work. And also the way that you install your breakers, you want to make sure that your So again, this will come in the trip position. As you can see, the breakers are already in the trip position. So I'm simply going to reset my breakers. Resetting your breakers allow you to install your breaker in the correct position. And once you power up your panel, you don't have to worry about getting false signals and so on. Your breaker will come on instantly and it's not in the trip position anymore. So once you are ready to install your breakers, make sure that you take your breakers out of the trip position and put them in the off position. That way when you turn on your breakers, they're going to work accordingly the way it's supposed to. As I work along here, what I like to do is take my time to install my breakers, make sure that everything is landed properly, make sure that my wires are cut to code once I go to install my breakers into the panel. Important, you don't want to have any copper showing at all when it comes to the panel. And the reason why is once you land your screwdriver inside of the panel, and the panel is live, you're going to realize that if your screwdrivers are not protected, insulated, that you're going to touch the hot cable on the panel and it's going to burn the screwdriver apart. So you want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So always remember, when you're landing your wires on the breakers, make sure that they are accordingly stripped to the length for the panel, for the breaker panel. Maintaining a clearance is also vital to the installation. You want to make sure that you maintain your clearance. I believe it's about 3 meters of working space. Also, when it comes to wires dangling and so on, you don't want to have any wires in front of the panel. It will cause problems once you go to take your panel cover off. So you want to make sure that those wires are all neatly rolled up out of the way of the panel. Maintain your working space once you come to finishing up your panel, and once you are ready to call for your final inspection, you have to have a clearance of working space around the panel. Also, you have to make sure that all grounds are tied in onto the neutral, onto the ground bar, and the neutrals are tied onto the neutral bar accordingly. Remember, the key to passing inspection is to make sure that your panel is mounted in the correct way. Your breakers are mounted at the correct height. Your one breaker is going to have to stay within the code, which is your panel. The main breaker has to be mounted at a certain height. I believe it's 61 or so from off the floor. If I'm correct, I might be a little bit off there, but that's the distance for the panel to go from the bottom to the top. You have to take that measurement. And when you're installing your arc fault breakers, also there are arc fault breakers with tails. There are some that are push on, depends on the panel that you have. If it's a newer style panel, there are push on arc faults. If it's the older style panels, there are tail arc faults. Again, arc faults are pretty pricey, so you want to make sure that when you are pricing a job, to make sure that you do have the proper arc faults throughout the house counted. You don't want to be going back and charging for something that was already charged for. Very important. Again, it does happen that code rules do change while you're doing the work, and that will affect the current status of the price. Also, if you price the job before the code rule change, obviously if the code rule change, you have to go and adjust the price accordingly because the code rule was changed. A simple panel upgrade will simply mean that all you need is to have your panel, your breakers, your main cable coming in to feed the panel. A lot of times you can use conduit. Most times it depends on the application. Here on this job I use tech cable. Reason being is tech cable is very easy to pull up to the panel from the basement. So I went with the easiest choice and the quickest choice. Conduit will take me much longer to do, and the duct work that's inside of the basement, there is no way I was going to get upstairs with the conduit. I would have had to had a bunch of 90s, which is not allowed by code. 3 to 4 mats per code. After that, you have to put a junction box, and it's not worth it to install a junction box to pull feeder cables. So instead,